welcome back. I am Jess. I'm still not on screen. One day I will come back to screen when I have my teeth. I still don't, so no teeth, no me on the screen. Okay, this time I want to talk about the most fun books I had, and these are different than the best, and different than the fantasy and the non-fantasy for that category. As I explained in an earlier video, separating those because I have so many that I don't want to have only fantasy when I had other things I enjoyed as well. And for the most fun, I had a lot of really, yep, I think they're all fantasy. Not a surprise. Okay, because again, I read 75 last year. There was a lot to cover. Okay, so these are varying lengths, varying, ideas. Some of them are little, tour.com things, and other ones are, full books, so it just depends. First, let's start with All Superheroes Need PR. And that one was hilarious. Okay, I love a good superhero romance. I fully blame Jennifer Eastep for that. I will link to her Big Time series books below, but, she had this whole thing with, villains and heroes and stuff like that, and All Superheroes Need PR has got that same vibe. You follow this, and then there's all these little, turns and tricks and stuff, and you're like, oh my god, I didn't expect that. That was so cool. Stevens really put her heart and soul into this, and I think that you can read it. She definitely put a lot of time and effort, and the way she built the characters, and there's a lot of tough topics, child abandonment, and foster care systems, and what happens when, and all that kind of stuff. But it's really an interesting look at, competitiveness and the world for the regular people, the professionals around superheroes. And I love that. The romance was top tier. It's on Audible under Kindle Unlimited. I should mention that All Superheroes Need PR is also Black-centered, so I think that's very important to note because a lot of times superheroes are coded as white naturally. Okay, then I was just going, I think on Threads, and I found something called How to Find a Nameless Fae by A.J. Lancaster. And oh my god, I love this book. It is so good. If you love fantasy, if you love fantasy, like tricking gods and tricking uses of things and animals and creatures and, I don't know, fairy housing and magic within the land, dual land properties and stuff like that, you're gonna love this one. I swear this is probably one of the most fun ones I have read all year. And I started reading another one that I'll talk about in my best of fantasies by the same author, by Lancaster, and it's because of this book. I highly recommend it. If you want fun, if you want light, but if you want comfort, this is a book for you. Then I read The Bookshop and the Barbarian. And I read that one on Kindle Unlimited, I think. Oh my god, this one was so cute. Okay, so this person buys a bookshop, but the bookshop has problems. There's an infestation. There's a barbarian that suddenly shows up and won't leave. The shop owner and the barbarian are really cute, kind of learning how to coexist with each other, figure things out, fix the problems. There's magical and non-magical issues, which I love. There's a very supporting cast. There's a lot of joy in it, and the bookshop features very heavily, almost as a character, but not. And if you like Labyrinth, there's some elements that have got David Bowie, Jim Henson thing. I highly recommend this one. I was just so happy with it. And then there's Better Luck Next Time by Cara Bastone, which I read on Audible. I'm sad I don't have Audible because these are Audible originals now, but I love these books. These are so fun. I don't think I can make you understand how fun these are. They're time slips, so they're you walk through a wormhole, and in this one it's the relationship you have in one place is not the same as the other, and how do you connect, and how do you fall apart, and what damage can you do, and what can you heal. I love Cara Bastone's romances anyway, and this is the second one in this series, and I highly recommend the series. If you want a good fun romance, this is the one for you. And then I found Dragons and Dumplings again on Threads. I'm on Threads more than I'm anywhere. I love Threads. Thread gives me so many books to add to my TBR. And in this one, it's about a princess who is given a dragon egg and has to figure out how to, handle this and the whole political systems of it. It reminded me a little bit of The Teller of Small Fortunes in some of these actions and some of the world building. But you can see, how the princess finds her way, and she's got a friendly flirtation with one of the bakers in the kitchen, and so he helps take care of the dragon eggs. You have to put it in the heat and warm it up, and da da da. But like you watch it, and then you watch how they interact, and it's a prequel to the next in the series, which is what I'm going to be reading later this month or next month. I can't decide. I like indie artists, if you haven't noticed. I enjoy reading indies. I like reading ones that are different. And then you have A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Sengu Madonna can do no wrong in my world. I have loved everything I've read by her. She's one of those insta-buys, right? Because I read her Celestial Trilogy, which I still maintain is probably one of the best space operas I've read. I also, of course, loved her series of Regular Witches. And, of course, Magical Innkeeping was fantastic because it deals with things like loss, grief of like the life you had and the life that you wanted, as well as autism and autism as in a magical world. So it's like this interesting combination of the two. But it's done in a way that does not disrespect the character and her needs, but also is got some realistic pushback. And I like how Sengu thinks about these characters, like she puts so much thought into them. And of course it's a found family, that's her biggest thing. But it's not the secret like society, but it's in that kind of a vein. Whereas Celestial Trilogy is much more sci-fi and, operatic. And then finally I read Mrs. Sorenson and the Sasquatch. Now, you would think monster romance with that name, and it kind of is. But it's also another one about grief. And I put it in the fun one instead of the best because the little elements that Kelly Barnhill put in. Kelly wrote When Women Were Dragons, and also like The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and so I enjoy her work. But Barnhill put a lot of effort into the suppression and compromise between love, and I think that that's an important element, and it's in the most fun because I see that every day as someone married, right? Like you have to give and take, and then when something is not there anymore, how do you respond? What do you do? Who do you become? And I felt like this one did a really good job of explaining that with a lot of fun things. Like there's some Snow White type stuff because the animals just come walking right up to her, to Mrs. Sorenson, and you get this really fun but really sweet world, and I have to recommend it. So that was all my fun books. Yes, they were all fantasy. This is not a surprise. But I wanted to talk about them because they each offer something different and they allow you to kind of move within that space. You have everything from superheroes to fae to regular people owning things like bookshops, time slip, sci-fi. I guess that one's not so much fantasy, it's sci-fi. But you have all these elements, and I don't know, I feel like you're enveloped into like warm little cozy places that allow you to walk in, and you are absolutely engaged in that moment. And so I want to talk about them. Have you read any of these? Like, have you heard of any of the smaller authors? Like, do you read indie and self-published, or do you read more trad? What would be your preference on like most fun? Do you like fantasy, or do you like contemporary settings, or do you like sci-fi, or do you like, I don't know, literary? Like what makes a book fun for you is what I'm asking. Okay, I think that is all. Again, we're going to have more coming soon, and I hope to talk to you later. Bye!